All right, here we go. DJ Akademiks, welcome back to Vlad TV.
It's good, Vlad.
Hey, man, I did your show last time.
Yeah. When's the last time I've been here?
Oh, man, it's been like maybe 3 months, 4
3
months?
months?
Something like that. Yeah, it's been a few.
Back again, man. Back
again. Back again. Well, a lot to talk about today, but first, something interesting came across my desk when it comes to Lil Durk. Well, because we already know the overall case, the murder for hire case, and the 5 co-conspirators and everything else. But recently, the feds filed a new superseding indictment, which is stalking resulting in death. They also removed the allegations that his lyrics were somehow involved or somehow glorified the situation. Now, Drew Finley was here recently, and he talked about how basically the original lyrics didn't have the Quando Rondo scream, that those were added later on by some YouTubers. So they removed the whole music reference altogether, and he's actually trying to get the case dismissed. But there's something very interesting about the superseding indictment, which you may not know. So I went through it very carefully, and the one thing that's not really covered by anyone is this. The original indictment is now missing paragraph 9. At the direction of defendant Banks, defendant Wilson would pay the bounty or monetary reward and or cause payment to be made for the killing of SR. That was Lil Pop. On behalf of co-conspirators known and unknown to the conspirators hired to kill TB, Quando Rondo. Essentially, this is the line that sets up the payment for the murder for hire. And now the feds have taken that out completely out of the new indictment. What do you think about that?
Sounds about right to me. I've told everybody from day one that this particular case is going to be, let's see who gonna get to the witness stand. Who's gonna make it there?
Yeah.
Who's gonna be speaking? However, listen, I don't want to give no ideas or nothing, but the only way Durk beats this is the witnesses got to stop witnessing shit.
Right.
Let's be honest. Like, there's nothing that puts him there. There's no smoking gun that says go to kill these guys.
Right.
They don't have him saying anything directly, whether on an intercepted call, whether direct text messages. Everything has some plausible deniability where he can say, man, we're doing business. I go out to LA to record music, do podcasts, promote my brand. I'm not doing any murders. Yeah, I'm friends with guys that do what they want, but I don't tell them nothing to do. And also for the idea where the feds might say, well, you have the motive to go do something. Well, they do too. We all share the same friends. If they chose to go take a shit, I don't tell them to go use the bathroom. They could do what they want as well. So he has a good amount of plausible deniability unless, and this is where when you read the original indictment, you see a bunch of people who are unnamed, but they're called co-conspirators. And one could only reasonably, deduce that those are the guys who have now spoken to the feds, worked out deals, maybe they got other cases, other situations, and they have given the story to the feds to say, hey, Durk did A, B, C, and D. Now, those people are gonna have to make it to the stand. Now, I'm pretty sure they've probably signed some affidavits, right? That says, hey, I'm signing to this because they got, they did a proffer or, they sat in a room and told it all. But you're gonna have to say it on the stand. And who knows? I think this trial is not gonna go to, it's not gonna go to trial in October, unlike Diddy's trial, which is kind of like really kind of cut and dry. And they actually think that the government has a whole bunch of nothing and they're only relying on Cassie. When it comes to Durk, the longer you could wait, it's probably gonna help Durk.
Yeah.
It's gonna help him to say maybe these witnesses catch amnesia. Maybe they get ill. Maybe they forget to show up to court. Maybe somebody in jail trips them and they fall in the shower. Who knows? So I've thought that from day one. What this kind of tells me when you tell me that, they're probably having some complications as it goes with their witness.
Right. Because a murder for hire involves a payment.
Yeah.
Of some sort. And if suddenly people can't stand behind their story of a payment, then it doesn't connect Durk directly with the case. He was not there. He was not at the shooting. He did not meet them afterwards to talk about the shooting at the In-N-Out. He was at a house, at an Airbnb in, I think, Woodland Hills or something. So he wasn't even in the vicinity of where it happens. I mean, the only thing is that he essentially flew in on a private jet with the guy that put it all together.
Let me give you another angle, Vlad. This might be proof that OTF is standing 10 toes down. Everybody's keeping it solid. So the first indictment that basically was insinuating that there were people telling, that's also a strategy the Fed's going to use when they pick up 6 new people. Hey, they're already telling, so why don't you tell too? These guys are already telling on. So we already have people telling. This is your last chance to tell. Everybody else is getting life.
Yeah.
It appears that maybe, because here's the thing too. Go back to what you just said, which is that paragraph that I vaguely remember at this point. That paragraph was saying, and this was the whole plot, they said Didi was supposed to get these out-of-town shooters to join in or commit this hit, and they were never going to ever deal directly with Durk. They were going to deal with Didi, right? Now, the Fed's game was the shooters are already telling, which then falls on Didi, which you're going to say, Didi, well, yeah, they're kind of telling on Durk, but before they tell on Durk, they're telling on you. So you need to flip. I think they wanted Didi and Vonnie to flip. Vonnie came on a plane with Durk. Didi supposedly hired the shooters. If either one of those flipped, it's gonna be a long day for Durk. What it appears is that maybe they're just not getting, the favorable cooperation. And again, this is gonna hinge on cooperation. If they had a smoking gun, trust me, they would have put it in one of the detention. I've read all the detention hearings or memorandums for bail or oppositions of bail, and none of them actually have any substantial, like, oh, wow, we got him. It's all, yeah, Durk flew on a plane. He had reason to want this guy dead, and we think the people who killed him were the people who was around him. He must have known, and he's kind of known for bragging about this stuff. This is kind of all loose variable type of stuff that I don't know if you could hold somebody dead to rights or really convict him beyond a reasonable doubt for. So, again, but the Feds do play different.